So today we are going over, honestly, the first thing I should have done, and that is gear and stats. Elite Void. The prayer bonus of +6 is actually a pretty big deal. It's definitely worth it, worth the grind. Don't necessarily do it all at once, but definitely get it. Melee gear. This is what I recommend. Torture is not required. Please do a Fury to start. Fire Cape. You should be able to kill Jad if you are going to Chambers. Like that should be a requirement. Jad before Chambers, period. A Tentacle Whip gives much better DPS than a regular whip, and you will make your money back to keep buying more. Dragon Boots, that's your minimum, and a Dragon Defender. Fury is fine. You definitely need a special attack weapon, either a Bandos Godsword or a Dragon Warhammer. That is required. Ranged. Again, a Fury is fine, no need for an Anguish. Range Void, Blowpipe, Rune Darts are required. You can bring a boot switch, but for starting out, don't worry about it. At minimum, a Rune Crossbow, preferably a Dragon Crossbow. And then you'll want to use Ruby Bolts. The best Ruby Bolts that you can use. An Accumulator is okay, but an Assembler is much better. My thoughts are, you can get away without questing to get to this point, but if it's a main and you're learning, you should probably have an assembler either when you start or shortly after. Magic. This is your minimum mage setup. You need an occult, a trident in the swamp, a trident of the seas will not be sufficient. That free piece of ancestral for that 2%. The occult is huge, it's only like 600-700k. Required. Again. If you cannot get this, you should not be doing Chambers. Now, some other items, depending on the bosses of what you do. Guardians. You'll need at minimum, a rune pickaxe for Guardians, but I definitely recommend a dragon pickaxe. I mean, it's literally like twice the DPS. So, Vasa, you'll need a stabby stab, also known as the dragon sword. I mean, this thing's like 100k if that. There's no reason not to have it. Stabbing the crystals gives much better DPS than whip, and I think the way it works out, I think the Dragon Sword might be better DPS than the Scythe on the crystals. So definitely, Dragon Sword, it's mandatory if you're going to do Vasa. Mystics. The Salve, Amulet, Enchanted, and Imbued. This is for the Mystics room, and it gives you a plus 20% against the skeleton mystics in that room. That's an extra 20% of DPS. That's a big deal. The Rune Pouch. You definitely need a Rune Pouch, because you either need to bring Humidify, freezes such as Ice Barrage, or at minimum, Water Strike. Because during the Olm fight, you will need to free your teammates, or yourself, and you have to have a water spell to do it. To start, this is your minimum gear. For the beginner Void setup, I recommend having everything except these last 6 items, with this being a Fury. Recommended stats. Ranged and magic are the most important. Now, with stats you will need is 80 attack, 85 strength, 80 defense, 85 magic, 85 ranged, 70 prayer with Piety unlocked, 78 herblore, and 70 farming. The herblore and farming is really nice to have. I will leave that up to your team. Here are the stats for you. Feel free to pause if you need. Until next time, bye-bye.